Assalamualaikum girls, Javeria here, and today I'll be showing you how to sew this plus size blouse as requested by all of you. So who's excited? The pattern for this blouse can be downloaded from the link in description. Go ahead and purchase the pattern. Tips on saving money on buying patterns from this site can be found on the blog. Okay, let's look at the supplies as listed in the pattern. They actually recommended silk fabric, but I opted for chiffon because I didn't really want it to be shiny and stuff. So I bought 2 meter chiffon, half yard of soft fusible interfacing, 6 snaps, 6 buttons, and of course the pattern. Okay, first off, lay down the pattern on the floor and tape them together. Then cut each piece out. I'm ready with all my pieces, and I just want to show you one thing here. You might have noticed some of the marks on your sleeves pattern like these. These are actually called notches. I'll just clip them through now, and when I'm tracing my sleeves, I would put a mark here with a chalk on the fabric. Now, since this is a slippery fabric, I would like to share this cutting tip which will help you in cutting the perfect pieces. So, first off, this is just an example of a small piece. So if you're using a bigger piece, you'd obviously need bigger papers. So if you're using a newspaper, so just put it on the surface and tape it, and then place your fabric on top and tape it too. Now the paper provides a friction and the fabric doesn't move much. And you can also go ahead and tape your fabric in place, and the edge over there is my selvage. One thing to take into account is that the pattern, which says straight up the grain, this line should be parallel to the selvage, and this end of the fabric at the top is our selvage. So make sure that the straight of grain line is exactly parallel to your selvage. Place your pattern piece on top of the fabric so that both these lines are parallel. Now go ahead and trace out all the patterns this way. Just follow the list of pieces given in your pattern to cut out the pattern file, and then you can tick off each piece from the list as you're done with it. And I just want to tell you one more thing. This pattern piece right here that I'm using is the front facing. It's not written clearly in the pattern, so I thought I'd just let you know. You can either cut both the paper and the fabric together, or you can just cut just the fabric, whatever is easy for you. So all my pieces are ready, and I've also fused the soft interfacing, and I've marked each piece with a post-it note to make life easier. Since the pattern wants us to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance, I'll go ahead and mark it with a tape on my sewing machine so that I don't get confused and make any mistakes later on. Okay, so the first step as shown by as written in the pattern is that we have to sew the placket to the front piece. We have two plackets and we have to sew both to the front pieces. So I'll go ahead and pin it in place, right sides facing each other, and then I'll sew with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now I am gonna press the seam to the side and fold over the placket. In the pattern it says to neaten the edge of the placket. I didn't really understand what they meant by neaten until I was actually done with the whole blouse. So what they actually mean is to finish up the seam with a zigzag stitch, or if you have a serger you can use a serger. And then you are supposed to fold the placket towards the wrong side into half and then do a top stitch. Do a top stitch along both the edges, and this is how your top stitch should look like. Now take your back pieces and sew them together. Always pin it first because it just makes it easier and it doesn't slip away. And after you are done, don't forget to press and finish up the seam with a zigzag stitch. Now it's time to sew the front and back pieces together from the shoulders and the side seam. I'm gonna go ahead and pin everything in place first. After you are done, press the shoulder and the back seams towards the back, like the back of the blouse. Press it and then finish it off using a zigzag stitch. Next, the pattern says to sew the facings together. There are two sets of facing, one back and one front. Pin each set together and sew. And then you can press open the seam allowance. So this is how it should look like after you have pressed open the seam allowance. Keep them aside for now. Now do a basting stitch with 0.5-inch seam allowance along the neckline, the back as well as the front neckline. Now pull the bobbin thread to gather the necklines so that they are the same size as the lower edge of your interfacing. Next, take your back facing and finish up the edge using a zigzag stitch. And then take the other facing, put the right sides together, and stitch along the inner edge. Obviously, you have to pin it first in place. After you're done, make sure you clip the inner curve and also clip off the corners, and then turn the right side out. Go ahead and press it in place. Now you have to pin the lower edge of the front facing to your neckline. The bottom one is the one which we finished of which we did the edge, but over here we are going to pin the outer edge, which is just simple. We didn't do anything on it. So I'm going to pin it to my neckline, and then I'm going to sew again with a 0.5 inch seam allowance. After you're done, flip it over, and this is how it should look like. Now you have to sew the top facing to the seam line, to the neckline seam, as I have pointed with my finger. So this is how it should look like. This outer seam should be sewn to the seam neckline. Okay, it's time for a break. Do comment, like, and subscribe to make use of this time, and then come back again and let's sew your cuffs and seams. So the first thing you gotta do is take one of your cuff and fold it into half and press. Okay, the pressing is all done. I'm gonna open it up and bring the right sides together, and I'm gonna sew it along this edge. After you're done, press open the seam, and this is how it should look like. If you fold it, it will take the shape and structure of your cuff. Repeat with the other piece so that you have two. Next, take your sleeve piece, do a basting stitch along the edge, just like you did earlier, and then gather the sleeves so that it fits into your cuff after folding. Keep it aside and then bring both the sleeve sides together and sew along the side. Finish up the seam and now sew the cuff into the sleeves. Make sure the right sides are together. And always start by pinning the seam allowances together first, matching the seam allowance, so that you have a perfect sleeve. After you're done, finish off your seam. So my sleeves are done. This is how it should look like after turning the right side out. Let me just show you.